Anne Travers lost her sister to an IRA bomb in 1984. She was murdered while walking home from Mass in Belfast. Hello, Anne.
Hi, Stephen. How are you?
I'm doing okay, thank you. What's your reaction to what you're hearing tonight?
Well, I have to say, I heard the initial interview and I just felt shocked and disappointed that an MP, especially somebody who would hope to win a leadership contest and then with the possibility of leading the Labour Party into government, would find it so difficult to say 5 simple words. Yes, I condemn the IRA. What was so hard about that? I think that Mr. Corbyn doesn't actually have... he shows a complete lack of empathy with the victims of terrorist violence, not only in Northern Ireland, but also in England. I mean, he just has to look at the Birmingham families, the Canary Wharf, Manchester, that just using the peace that we have now as an excuse for not condemning IRA terrorism just isn't good enough.
Well, he said, Kate, he said that all bombing is wrong, and I guess there would be some people who would see that as a sign of a politician who was prepared to say what he really, really thought. Well, that he was condemning British bombing as well, the British involvement, the British atrocities in Northern Ireland.
I get what he was saying, and I heard that, Stephen, and he spoke about Bloody Sunday in 1972. But the troubles didn't stop with a Bloody Sunday. Unfortunately, thousands more people were murdered, thousands of innocent civilians, thousands of people who were going out to work, going out to socialise, sitting on buses, were blown up, going into coffee shops. How on earth does he think, or how does he, and it's something that actually really frustrates me, not just about politicians, but people who commentate on Northern Ireland and the Troubles, but they're not more mindful about what they say. I mean, how does he think that a mother or a widow sitting at home, sitting over her breakfast table with her cup of tea, listening to your programme, and she has lost a son or a daughter, and perhaps her daughter went out one Saturday to go into town for a cup of coffee and didn't come home in the same way she went out,
but
you
ended
up
me,
losing her limbs.
You tell me, Anne, so you lost your sister, so you tell me, when you hear the potential next leader of the Labour Party, a potential Prime Minister of this country, answer those questions as he did, how did it make you feel as one of the relatives of a victim?
Well, I feel sick and I feel betrayed. My sister was 23 years of age and she was walking home from Mass with my mother and father. My dad was a resident magistrate. Mary was a primary school teacher. And that day she was going to be going to bring it was her first teaching job, and she was going to bring her class of primary 3 boys over to make their first confession in preparation for the First Holy Communion. And the IRA came along and shot my sister Mary in the back. Another gunman shot my dad 6 times as he lay on the ground. And the same gunman that shot my sister Mary in the back, as Mary was dying in my mum's arms, walked over to my mum and put the gun to my mother's head and pulled the trigger. But miraculously, the bullets jammed. Now, my sister was 23. She was at the start of her life. The men who murdered her that day and who went out to murder my father, who miraculously also survived, they were wearing wigs. They weren't in an army uniform. They were waving guns from under newspapers.
And so
it's very important though that he understands that all of this pain. I mean, I could go into so much detail, Stephen. I've done it before. I've told you my story before. I can remember that day with minute precision. I think about my sister every day, and when Mr. Corbyn refused to condemn the IRA, and that was the very specific question that you asked him, I felt hurt, I felt frustrated, I felt that my father, who was a resident magistrate and who swore allegiance to the Queen and to serve the British government, had yet again been very badly let down. And I've spoken to other victims over the last, over today, between today and yesterday, about this, and they also feel very badly let down. And the feeling of trust just isn't there. And he's doing more damage by not building up on that trust. I do have a feeling, and some part of me had a sympathy for him, because I thought that night that he was doing that interview with you, he was then going over to the West Belfast Festival, where he was going to be sitting in with Sinn Féin and obviously a lot of Republicans. Perhaps he was very conscious of that, and perhaps he was fearful. I don't know. But I do feel that he could have come back on, and even if he didn't want to clarify it with you, and as Kate said, I thought that you were very gentle in that interview with him. I've been interviewed by you before, and you've been tougher on me. He could have easily have clarified it with another journalist, and he hasn't done that.
Okay.
You know, and it's how on earth can we trust somebody to be Prime Minister of a country if he won't condemn terrorism?
And thank you very much indeed. Anne Travers, who lost her sister to an RA bomb in 1984.